So here we are again. In our last video, we generated a button which switches its text each time it is clicked. But still it was a functionality clicking on the button, changing the button. Now can we also, on the click of a button, do something with other things than the button itself? Of course we can. So what we want to do now is to generate a counter and display the value of that counter in our text field, which traces how many times we clicked on that button. We're going to do that just similar as before. So we start with generating a new variable, which we call counter, of the type integer, and set it in the beginning to 0. And as you know, we don't need the integer here, because Kotlin will just see on the 0 that this counter variable holds an integer. But sometimes it might be useful to just explicitly add that. So I wanted to show that to you here. And what do we want to do? First of all, we want to have our text field don't display my own text, but the counter. Whoa, what's going on here? Why is this red? So there seems to be an error. Let's hover over it. And the IDE directly tells me what's the problem. The problem is that the text needs a text or a character sequence, but we gave it an integer. So we somehow have to convert that number, that integer, to a text which we can give to our text field. And nicely, the IDE even tells us how to do that by adding the toString call. So let's click on that, and now everyone's happy. Now, when do we want to increase this counter? We want to increase that every time a button is clicked. And this is outside of this if-else block. So we can just put it behind it. So we have to increase our counter by 1. And increasing by 1, we can just say plus plus. And now we can add the new value of the counter to our text field. So we are text field dot text equals counter, which should have now the new value. And again, we get this error because it's an integer, so we convert it to string. Let's see whether that worked. Here we go. So the text is 0, which is nice because we didn't click it. So let's click on our button. It's 1, and we click it again. It's 2. So what you've seen here is how we can set things outside of that button once we click the button. And I think that's pretty nice. We're going to stop the video here. Have fun and happy coding.